Do you ever take a political position beyond pure individualism? No, I don't really believe in politics. To me, politics is the art of making the inevitable appear to be a matter of wise human choice. And I know a lot of people who say that their object is to take their place in society. Don't ever do that. Stay right where you are and wait for society to form itself round you. What advice do you give to those who are afraid of growing old? Can a senior citizen have a lifestyle? Oh, yes, indeed. You may know that Somerset Maugham was once asked to make a speech, and it began, "There are advantages in growing old." And then he paused. And he paused so long that someone thought he was ill and rose to go to his assistant. Whereupon he said, "I was just trying to think of one." However, of course, it's not for me to go on where Mr. Maugham left off, but I do, and I will tell you the advantages of growing old. As it's toward the end of the run, you can overact appallingly. Nearly all of my patients come to therapy with the same complaint. I feel worthless and unlovable. I don't like myself, and I don't see how anyone else can. What would your suggestions be to these patients were you a therapist? Well, of course, they're absolutely right. But they confuse the two things. You don't have to be lovable to other people. You only have to learn to accept. Your very own Danny Kaye said, "You cannot love the world until you've at least settled for yourself." And that's what you have to do. You have to push your neuroses around until they're in a place where they don't hurt. You don't need the love of others. You only need to feel that you have made the most of yourself, that what little you can do and say and be, you have done and said and been. That's all there is. And if you can get your patients to see that, I would say that was the answer. Did you like the John Hurt movie based on your life? I was amazed at it, absolutely stunned by it. But of course, first of all, I must say that no credit is due to me for the excellence of that program. The praise belongs to Mr. Mackey, who wrote it, to Mr. Gold, who directed it, and to Mr. Hurt, who has become my representative on earth. But they took enormous trouble. Mr. Hurt wore 5 wigs in all in order to pass from innocence, mouse-colored, through sin, scarlet, to this color, old age. Of course, once you show an art department an actual person, they go mad. They photographed me from above, from below, from the left. I kept saying, does it matter whether it's like my life or not? Because I couldn't see it made any difference. But they were determined it should be. and I'm amazed at the trouble that they took. Did you ever in your life think you'd find yourself on stage entertaining? Well, no, when I was young, I didn't really have any very strong ambitions. At a time when my brothers wanted to be icons of manliness, they wanted to be firemen and the captains of ships, I wanted to be a chronic invalid. I had a certain flair. My parents decided it was too expensive to take up as a career. Now I could get a grant. Do you think that Hitler had style? Now this is a question we often get asked because people feel that style may be a kind of tyranny, something you force upon others. And it isn't. It's simply something you offer to others for their entertainment. But nevertheless, of course, Hitler did have style. If he did not, how would we now have a Germany full of elderly people saying, "I can't think what came over me"? How do you keep the dust from your room off your black velvet suit? Everything is ordinary except that you'll have to jump in the air to put your trousers on. Otherwise, carry on as before. The Naked Civil Servant ends on a depressing note. Are you going to continue your biography in book form? Yes, indeed. I am already now writing a book which will describe everything that happened from the moment I stopped writing The Naked Civil Servant up till now. And it will be called How to Become a Virgin. And of course, the way in which you become a virgin is to go on to television. So if there is anybody in this audience who has some terrible habit of which he's deeply ashamed, don't do it in secret, do it on television. And no one will walk by on the other side of the road saying, "Don't look now, there's that terrible man." They will cross over the road at the risk of losing their own lives to say, "We saw you on the telly." Wit seems such a part of your style. What is wit, and can I become a wit? Yes, indeed, it's quite easy. Wit depends entirely on the order of the words. By nature, we say the most important, the most urgent thing first, and then we say all the qualifying phrases. And this never works. It never becomes a memorable phrase. First of all, I hope we're agreed that wit is not a way of getting your own back on people with minds less nimble than your own. It is any comment on the human condition made in a way that is memorable. And if you can refrain from saying the most important thing first, then you will find that you are able to give what you say this particular pattern, which I take to be wit. One of the Gaiety girls, one of the chorus girls of the beginning of this century, was asked by a televisionary whether she thought that the beginning of the century was really as naughty as we imagine now. And she said,